All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We're very glad you're with us. It is May 23rd, 2025. Please note this event is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I took over facilitating and leading the North Dallas group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or I have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. We love to see everybody's smiling faces. So everybody who's on Zoom, if you will, please turn on your camera so we can see who you are. And for those of you who don't have a full first and last name, please edit your name so Joshua and Scott, we can see what your last names are. All right, our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. We'll then go to job leads. We'll do 30-second introductions, everybody in the room here, and then everybody online. We'll let you give your introductions. We'll then hear from the Interview Success Workshop, the Practice Interview Team, and the Career Tip of the Week, and then our main event around the top of the hour. Well, we like to start the meeting off with good news, and I hear we have a landing. So tell us, David, tell us all about your story.
Well, good morning, North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. My name is Dave Houghton. I'm an experienced IT executive. I was seeking opportunities in the IT sector. So looking for a directorship or senior manager role. I have a successful track record in driving innovation, optimizing operations, and leading high performance teams. I was eager to explore new avenues where I could make significant impact. My teams will now make Michael's dreams come true. So once again, I am David Houghton. So thank you this morning, Jeff, for the opportunity to present. And thank you, Walt, for the template. I have accepted a position at Michael's, the craft store company, as manager of system operations for their 1,300 stores across the U.S. My start date will be June 2nd, so in about another little over a week away. How I found the job, it's important to recognize group. This job was posted on LinkedIn. So there's always people who say, pursuing a posted job is not always great, not always this. You got to go find the one where they invite you in and offer you a cup of coffee. No, this one was presented on LinkedIn. The key is once I applied for the position, then I started using my resources and the talented network resources in all these different programs. I found some internal resources and I applied for the position on April 25th. And I started reaching out. I found I had some network connections inside the organization. I touched base with one of my friends and said, hey, I've applied. This is where I'm at. They came back a day later and said, we just talked to the recruiter and they don't have any of your information. I had a confirmation letter that my application had been received in the system, but it was stuck somewhere in ATS. My internal resource actually hand carried my resume to the recruiter. The recruiter called me a day later and scheduled my first interview on May 5th. So my first interview was with the recruiter on May 5th. I had 6 interviews with this company. Interviewed at a director level, VP level, Chief Information Security Officer, CTO, a lot of interviews. In one of our previous sessions here, we all talked about the assessment surveys. What was the value? What's going on there? I took a 2.5 hour assessment survey. It was pretty in-depth. I guess if there's anything I would pass on from that learning is it's not how you answer the questions, it's your consistency in answering the questions. They're looking that you're consistent in your responses. So did all the interviewing process and the offer came in on the 20th and I accepted it on the 21st. A lot of thoughts in my head, a lot of different information I have here, but maybe if there's a question or if somebody learns something from that.
Well, if you had one thing you want to share with everybody, what would the one factor be?
The one factor would be dig deep and find internal resources. There are job opportunities on the job board, but my internal resources made sure my resume got handed to the right person. That's not going to get you a job, but it gets you a much closer opportunity. Also, there was some other resources that I had internal. I got a phone call one night from a peer who said, "Dave, you are scheduled for an interview tomorrow." This was not an HR representative. This was a friend. They said, "You are scheduled for an interview tomorrow with this person. Here is the questions he is going to ask you." He outlined the list of questions that I was to be asked, and then he turned around and he supplied me with a list of answers. So, if there's something to learn here, job boards are important. Fill your funnel up, get everything you can in there, but identify a select few, 2 or 3 that you consider as your strong areas, and dig deep and find internal resources. The job will not come to you. You've got to go find it.
All
Jeff,
David, thank you very, very much. Congratulations. As I've said before, I hope I'd never see you again here.
it's
And
always a pleasure working with you, Jeff.
great. Thank you very, very much. Do we have any other landings? Anybody else have good news to share? All right. Well, let's go on for everybody who's on Zoom right now. I know a couple of people have already done this. If you will, in the chat box, put your name, the position you're looking for, give us your email address, LinkedIn, phone, city you're watching from. Give us 2 or 3 target companies in case we can help you out with those. And then if you have connections anywhere, please tell us what those are, and so people can see that. Those will go in the chat, and I'll be emailing this chat out to everybody this afternoon. So let's put 30 seconds on the clock. All right. Apparently somebody showed up on the south side of the building and they can't get in because the doors are locked down there. All right. What we want to do now is for everybody here's in the room, if you will, come up, grab the mic, and we want to do your 30-second introductions. So come on down. Zoom is not responding. Let's see here. Well, still up there, so I think we're in good shape. Yep. Thank you. Perfect. Yep. Flip the mic on.
Oh, there it is. It's green. Okay.
You're good.
Happy Friday. I am looking for a brand ambassador manager position at Gallo in Modesto, California. I need contacts at Gallo in Modesto. that will return replies. I have contacts at Duke Cannon in Minnesota, Tula Trees also in Minnesota, and Army Air Force Exchange Service, known as AFIS, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. My name is Jenny Holcomb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Yeah. Good morning. My name is Rob Swan, spelt just like the bird. I'm looking for project management or manager of operations roles. I'm looking for contacts at target companies like Caterpillar or Keurig Dr. Pepper. I have contacts at Interstate Batteries. And again, my name is Rob Swan. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Garber. I'm looking for a position as a project or program manager in the information technology area. I've got contacts at Kyndryl. My name's Michael Garber.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Belzil. So I'm looking for a director level role of product management with data analytics. So I need contacts at Toyota, Pepsi Frito, or Keurig Dr. Pepper. So I have contacts at Walmart, Epsilon, and Circana. So my name is Mike Belzil.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Miguel Castillo. I am looking for a VP or a director finance, financial planning and analysis position. I need contacts this week at Honeywell and Caterpillar, and I have contacts at United Airlines, American Airlines, and Amazon. My name is Miguel Castillo.
Hello, I'm Paul Husar. That's H-U-S-A-R. I'm a director of customer service or technical support. Boulevard is looking for me. Please help them find me. I have contacts at LG. I'm Paul Husar.
Good Friday morning. I am Mike Knoll. I'm looking for a position as an aerospace quality leader or auditor in the QMS field. I have a clearance. I need contacts at RTX, Collins, Raytheon, and also Sierra Nevada Company. And I have contacts at L3 Harris. My name is Mike Knoll. The last name is N-U-L-L, the one that breaks databases.
Hi, I'm Carrie Padilla. David Houghton, are you still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Got a job, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. So happy for you. So I'm looking for an IT project manager job. I need contacts at Topgolf. And next person, I'm Carrie Padilla.
Good morning. I'm John Pinchot. I'm looking for a project management position. I need contacts with Fujitsu, and I have contacts with Microsoft. My name is John Pinchot.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Villafaña. I'm looking for contacts at Keurig Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, or any CPG company. I work at commercial finance or pricing or data analytics. I have targets. I have contacts at Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits, and I know I have probably contact for the person who asked for the Gallo one. My name is Gabriela Villafaña.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is David Turner. I'm a senior HR information systems analyst specializing in employee central security. I need contacts at a company in Plano called Collinson. I have contacts at PepsiCo. My name is David Turner.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Tim Farrell. I'm looking for work as an electrical design verification engineer. This week I made contacts at NXP and Silicon Labs, or I applied for work there. So if you have contacts there, that would be great. I also am looking for contacts at any defense contractor, and I have contacts at my prior employer, Raytheon. Worked there over 5 years, and once again, my name is Tim Farrell. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Steve Stanton. I am looking for a chief of staff or a deputy COO or even a department leader job at a place like JP Morgan, TIAA, Wells Fargo, or any big bank that needs someone to go across functions and get things done.
I have contacts in Hong Kong, Dubai, or Buffalo or Rochester, but not too many in Texas. I've only lived here for 1 week. Again, my name is Steve Stanton. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hilbert Taylor Zia. I'm a software developer in test. I break software because before customer find it. I need contact at First United Bank here in Plano, McAfee, and Southwest Airline. My name is Hilbert Taylor Zia.
Thank you.
Good morning and happy Friday. My name is Jason Irish. I'm a financial services professional working my way through some final steps as well as licensing with Thrivent Financial to become an advisor. I do have contacts at Thrivent Financial as well as Fidelity and several other financial services firms. May have a contact also for people looking for interim C-level positions. And also connect with me. I'm an avid connector and networker. My name is Jason Irish.
Hi, my name is Jason Nixon. I am a technology director, leader, do consulting, and also looking for a role potentially in industry. I have contacts at PwC and Epsilon. I'm really looking for a contact at Gartner right now. And again, my name is Jason Nixon.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Dara Patel, and I'm looking for positions in product management or product support as a business analyst, product owner, application support, or customer support roles. This week, I need contacts at Jack Henry Associates, JPMC. I have contacts at CoAmerica. And again, my name is Dara Patel.
Hello and happy Friday. My name is Kathleen Dixon. I am looking for a regional director or VP position in either two industries, senior living or learning development. I need contacts at either of those two industries. My contacts would be with Atria Senior Living, Total Wine, or PepsiCo. And my name is Kathleen Dixon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Phil Elsner. I'm a PMP project manager. Been doing it for a long time. Degrees in biomedical sciences, a lot of interest in working in the medical field. Most of my work has been in telecom and also in the medical world. Dallas area is where I am bound and where I'll be working. I'm Phil Elsner.
Is everybody in the room? All right, let's go online now. How about Kathy Dixon?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Dixon. I'm a senior technical writer with extensive experience documenting hardware, application, and system software and processes and procedures. My broad industry experience allows me to work for many companies, so I haven't identified any target companies yet. Kathy Dixon, senior tech writer.
Thank you. Steve Rohan.
Yes, my name is Steve Rowan. I'm a retired .NET developer. I have contacts at Fiserv and GM Financial. My name is Steve Rowan.
Thank you. Kevin Nelson.
Hi, my name's Kevin Nelson, and I'm an industrial engineer. I'm looking for a position in manufacturing in the Metroplex. I also have extensive experience in planning, scheduling, purchasing, and inventory control. My name is Kevin Nelson.
Thank you. Jeanette.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeanette Bailey. I am seeking an administrative support position. I'm a customer satisfaction champion. I am targeting several municipalities, including the city of Plano, city of Richardson, the city of Frisco, and Carrollton, and also an insurance firm called Willis Towers Watson. Please connect with me. My name is Jeanette Bailey.
Thank you. Alkeisha.
Good morning. Mute button. Alkeisha Rodriguez. I'm a technical business analyst. I translate the technical into tangible to make it profitable while maintaining humanity in the midst of expanding technology.
Don Champlin.
Good morning. I'm Don Champlin. I'm an IT and business transformation consulting advisor. I've worked with over 3,000 corporations, making them better and saving them billions of dollars. I am Don Champlin.
Thank you. James with no last name. Hello, James. All right, go to Jeanette.
I've already gone, sir.
All right, thank you. Jennifer Rhodes.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Rhodes. I'm looking for talent acquisition or recruiting positions. My target companies are American Airlines or anyone else with talent acquisition roles. I have contacts at Santander. Hello, my name's Jennifer Rhodes.
Thank you. Joshua Young.
Hi, good morning. I'm Joshua Young. I'm a marketing and communications director. I have experience leading both creative teams and strategic teams. Looking for a marketing director or senior manager roles. You can help me target Topgolf, Aquint, and Verizon, and I can help you target At Home, Lena Pope, and Michaels. Again, Joshua Young. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Nelson. Did you go already? I don't remember.
Yes, I've already gone.
Okay. Michael Wilk.
Good morning. I'm Michael Wilk from Allen. I'm looking for a position as a senior quality engineer, quality lead, or aerospace and defense. My target companies include SNC, Collins, Boeing, Raytheon, and Texas. Michael Wilk.
Thank you. Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle Hawk. I have 15 years expensive years in accounts receivable cash posting applications as well as deposits. I recently gained a medical coding and billing certificate. After that, I worked 3 years with dental surgeons, over 150 of them, and doing insurance verification. I'm looking for a position at CVS in the pharmacy distribution section over in Irving. I need a recruiter or a hiring manager for that. I have recently got a contact, but people who have a job don't check their messages. So trying to still get in that contact with someone there 11 years already. But anyhow, this is Michelle Hott. Have a great day.
Thank you. Randall.
Good morning. My name is Randall Christopher. I'm looking for a logistics auditor position. In technology, I need contacts at T-Systems and Honeywell, and I have contacts at Samsung Electronics America. My name is Randall Christopher.
Thank you. Rosina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I am your Career Tip of the Week host. I'll be back with you shortly. I'm looking for a position as a senior talent acquisition partner or senior recruiter position, and I need contacts at Delta Dental, Unum Dental, MetLife, USAA, and TIAA. And then I have contacts across a variety of different companies, so as I hear them, I'll reach out to you directly. Again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Partner or Senior Recruiter position. Thanks so much.
Scott Alexander.
Hey, my name is Scott Alexander. I'm looking for a IT product owner, product manager, software development manager position in a big data like environment. I have very limited contacts at AT&T, where my previous life was, and looking for contacts in a variety of organizations that can the big tech or big financial. Scott Alexander.
Thank you. Chandra.
Hello, my name is Chandra Thomas. I am an administrative analyst. I need contacts at United Healthcare, Nestle, and Blue Cross Blue Shields. I don't have any contacts at this time. Again, my name is Chandra Thomas.
Melissa.
Did you say Verlisa?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's me. Hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Verlisa Madden. I am looking for positions like Senior Manager Director of Internal Audit, Internal Controls, or Process Improvement. I'm looking for companies like USAA, TIAA, Healthcare, higher education. My detailed list is in the chat. I have contacts at AT&T, Grant Thornton, Deloitte. My name is Verlisa Madden.
Thank you. Tracy Harris.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Harris. I'm a senior recruiter here at Thomas Edwards Group. Some of you may, if you attend some other meetings, you've probably seen and heard of our firm, but local to the DFW area, focused in accounting and finance. We do some HR and IT recruiting as well. I work specifically on the direct hire side. However, we do have a contract to hire team. My name is Tracy Harris.
Tracy, any jobs you want to talk about right now?
Sure. I didn't know if you wanted me to transition to that, but happy to do that. So wanted to share a few that we got in recently, obviously heavily focused more on the accounting finance side. But we received a Dynamics BC and service management tester for one of our clients, an accounts payable specialist, a manager for the sales analytics team, and an AP staff accountant. So those are some recent ones that we just got in this week, in the past few days.
Tracy, thank you very, very much.
Absolutely.
Vitaly.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vitaly Platonov. I'm looking for a supply chain or logistics manager or specialist position. My experience mostly in automotive, but these days I'm industry agnostic. I've got limited connections at Hyundai Motor North America. At this moment, I don't have the target companies. Again, Vitaly Platonov. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else on Zoom who I passed over? Come on up and grab the mic. We have one person here who is letting people in the at the back door. Mike's over there.
All right. Yes, sorry about missing it earlier. I was letting people in that got here slightly late. So good morning. So with that, good morning, everybody. My name is William McLaughlin. I'm currently seeking a business analyst role and looking for contacts at GameStop and Dave & Buster's. Again, my name is William McLaughlin. Thank you very much. And again, I am sorry for the delay of my elevator pitch.
All right. I think we've got everybody. Let's see here. We'll see. Interview Success Workshop, Walt Glass.
Hello out there in TV land. Hello in person. It's great to see you this morning. So I am Walt Glass, and I would love to help people gain skills and confidence in hiring interviews. And so how do I do that? Well, do we all agree that we're selling ourselves in an interview? Well, if we are, what is it we're selling? And I ask people that, and there's a long pause. But for those who have heard my speech endless number of times, you know the answer. It's selling I am, I do, and I help. Our characteristics, our skills, our hard and soft skills, our certifications if we have those, our experience, our expertise, and how we combine those to bring value to the company. So how do you sign up for the Interview Success Workshop? Well, you go out to my LinkedIn page and it will tell you in the About section. It's just, there's a scheduling request QR code that starts you to send an email to me. Just say I'd like to register. And this workshop is very informal. This is not a mock interview. It is a learning interview, learning how to sell ourselves. And so it's very informal. You can pause and think, what a clever idea. You can start over. We can make it fun to learn. It does not have to be, stressful from that. So if you'd like to sign up, I'm currently waitlisting people and I'm looking at scheduling some extra sessions during the next few weeks. So if I can catch up with everybody that's on the wait list, be glad to have you participate. I call it learning without squirming, right? You know, practice interview, we should be maximizing. It's not a time for laxing. It doesn't have to be taxing. Get the job, we'll all be relaxing. And as a bonus, today we hear PJ. I would suggest we listen to what he has to say. Not only that, but put his ideas in play. And then from job search groups, we can stay away. Walt Glass.
Thank you very much. All right. Let me talk about a little bit about the practice interview team. You want to practice interviews before you go for a real interview. How do you do that? Reach out to dallaspitcrew.com, sign up. First, just come and watch a couple interviews, because watch other people being interviews. You will learn a lot just by watching somebody else, what they do good and what they don't do as well. Then when you're ready, sign up, get your practice interview team. You'll be interviewed by 2 or 3 hiring managers who've done this before. All the people who do the interviews have hired, and they've had to fire people too. So they're on both sides of what goes on. They know what the good ones are. They meet right here in this room on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock on first, second, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month. Next week happens to be the 4th Wednesday of the month, so they will be online only. No meeting here in the room, but anybody around the country will be able to watch online next Wednesday. So that's Step Out Dallas Pit Crew. If you need more information, just go to dallaspitcrew.com. All right, time for the career tip of the week. Good morning, Rosina.
Good morning, Jeff. And again, good morning, everybody. I don't know if it's, no, it's not my computer only, but the volume for some reason took a real deep dive to being very low. Just so you know.
I think all of us experienced that, something on Jeff's side.
Gotcha. Okay.
Get louder.
It didn't seem like it got any louder.
Okay, this may be a little bit better now.
That's a little bit better, yes. Okay, just want to make sure people can hear. All right, well, good morning again, everybody. Happy almost 4-day weekend kind of thing. All right, so last week, Matt Keelan presented technology tips and tricks, which was it was full of great information, especially at the end where there were pages of job search resources that were collected over previous sessions. Well, there were a few ChatGPT prompts from one session. And so basically I said, you know what, let's kind of expand that. So this week's career tip is a continuation of a few more career search prompts from ChatGPT. So this week's tip is 15 ChatGPT prompts to land your dream job in 2025. And this article is produced by a person at medium.com. And so giving them credit. And basically, let's start off with the first prompt. The first one is discovering your dream job. One of the prompts that you can use or type into whichever of your favorite ChatGPT platforms would be. Help me identify my ideal job by analyzing my skills and interests and values. Provide a detailed breakdown of industries, roles, and companies that align with my profile, and suggest tools or platforms I can use to explore these opportunities. Second prompt, you can use creating a powerful resume. Guide me in building a highly impactful resume tailored to specific industry or job, and then include advice on structuring it, highlighting key achievements, quantifying results, and ensuring it passes ATS filters with examples of strong bullet points. Third, writing a magnetic cover letter. Prompt, help me craft a personalized and compelling cover letter for specific job or industry. Break it down into an engaging introduction, a strong value proposition, examples of how my experience aligns with the role, and a confident closing statement. Fourth, perfecting my LinkedIn profile. Prompt: teach me how to optimize my LinkedIn profile for maximum visibility to recruiters and hiring managers in specific fields. Include tips on writing a standout headline, crafting an engaging summary, adding impactful work descriptions, and using endorsements effectively. Fifth, building a targeted networking plan. Prompt: help me develop a strategic networking plan to connect with professionals in industry or role, and then include tips on leveraging LinkedIn, reaching out with a personalized message, participating in online communities, and attending virtual or in-person events to build relationships. Sixth, preparing for job interviews. Prompt: guide me in preparing for interviews for specific job or industry, and include strategies for researching the company, understanding the job requirements, practicing common and role-specific questions, and crafting strong, structured answers using the STAR method. 7, mastering behavioral interview questions. Prompt: teach me how to excel at answering behavioral interview questions. Provide a framework to craft compelling stories using the STAR method and offering examples for common scenarios like teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and handling failure. 8, conducting a mock interview role play. Prompt: act as an experienced interviewer for specific role or industry and ask me a mix of behavioral, technical, and situational questions. After each response, provide constructive feedback and suggestions to refine my answers and improve delivery. 9, crafting a follow-up email after interviews. Prompt: guide me in writing a professional and effective follow-up email after an interview. Include how to express gratitude, reaffirm my interest in the role, highlight key skills discussed during the interview, and ask thoughtful follow-up questions. 10th, developing a personal brand for job hunting. Prompt: help me to create a personal brand that positions me as an expert in specific field or role. Provide guidance on crafting a professional narrative, developing thought leadership content, and using social media platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter to showcase my expertise. 11, negotiating job offers. Prompt: teach me how to confidently negotiate a job offer for specific role or industry. Include tips on researching market salaries, articulating my value to the employer, and handling discussions around base pay, bonuses, benefits, and other perks. 12, overcoming rejection in the job search. Prompt: help me navigate and learn from rejection during my job search. Provide actionable strategies for seeking feedback, refining my approach, staying motivated, and maintaining resilience to continue pursuing my dream role. 13, showcasing transferable skills. Prompt: guide me in identifying and communicating transferable skills that make me a strong candidate for specific role or industry. Provide examples of how to highlight these skills in my resume, cover letter, and interview responses to demonstrate their relevance. 14, creating a 30-day job search plan. Prompt: help me design a comprehensive 30-day action plan to land my dream job in specific field or role. Break it down into daily and weekly tasks, including optimizing my resume, applying for jobs, networking, preparing for interviews, and follow up effectively. And number 15, preparing for salary discussions during interviews. Prompt: guide me on how to confidently discuss salary expectations during job interviews for specific role or industry. Include advice on researching salary benchmarks, framing my desired range, and responding to challenging questions about compensation. This is like I said, it's a launching pad for just additional questions that you can throw into your favorite AI platform. And basically this, again, this week's career tip of the week is 15 chat GPT prompts to land your dream job in 2025. I hope this helps. And I have a couple more that I'll be covering over the next couple of weeks. So for now, have a fantastic weekend and stay safe out there.
Rosina, thank you very, very much. Everybody you'll get a copy of this afternoon. So you'll be able, or today or tomorrow. So you'll be able to use those prompts in your job search. And I also will post it up on the Career USA website. All right, today for lunch, join us 11:45. We're going to go to Jason's Deli, 4801 West Parker Road. It's just north. It's on the northeast corner of Parker and Preston. So come join us at 11:45. I'll be there for the chocolate ice cream, but y'all can come for whatever else you'd like. If you want to receive today's materials, you'll get the speakers slide deck. You'll get a link to the YouTube video of the recording. You'll get a copy of the career tip of the week and a copy of the Zoom chat. To get that information, please make sure if you're here that you've checked off your name off the roster, and also making sure that your email and everything is correct. And for those people online, make sure that your email address is in the chat so that I can make sure to get it copied out to you this afternoon. All right, time for our main event. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can just raise your hand in the chat window or just enter your questions in the chat window and I'll be sure to get them asked. We'd love for you to turn on your video so that we can see who you are. So today, our speaker is PJ Dunn. He's a behavioral strategist, a professional development coach. He's a great speaker. I've heard him many times before. He's spoken to this group many times over the years. Really appreciate it. He's going to talk today about working from a position of strength. So let me go give him the microphone and we'll get started.
Good morning, everyone. Let's see if the microphone's on. Check one, check one, check one, check 1, 2. Okay. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, check one, check one,
Mic is fine.
Mic is fine? Got it.
Correct.
Let me get my bearings here. First of all, as I'm doing this and getting everything set up, how many people have actually heard of the Clifton Strengths? Okay. Oh, all right. So we got a knowledgeable group here. When you took the assessment, what did you think? Did you say, well, this is exactly like me, or did you say, this is okay, but I thought this did it better? Did anybody have that kind of sense? Or maybe it was the Enneagram, or maybe it was the assessment to show if your big toe is bigger than the other toes, that somehow you're smarter, or was it the assessment that said if you have irises that have big circles, that therefore you're smart? Have you noticed there's like a ton of these out there right now? And that's what I'd like to do today, is go ahead and talk about what is strengths, who created strengths, why, but then also here, more importantly for you, when you're in the interview process, you're selling you, correct? The thing that you work from the most is your strengths. People ask me, how do you do this? How do you be the most authentic person you can be in an interview? Well, you're not the most authentic person you can be if you're just quoting things that someone else said. You read the video online that said, here are the 10 things you must say. Here are the 5 hardest questions that they're ever going to give you. No. In the interview process, if I'm the CEO looking to hire somebody, let me just tell you what I'm looking for. What I want to see is an asset, because what I have is already a team of assets. And what I need to do is fill a gap, because my assets are great, but I still need one more asset. Now, frame it this way. In the interview, when you know your strengths and you can articulate your strengths, you are an asset. An asset that cannot articulate what it brings to the table has now become a liability. Unless they're behavioral strategists like me, they will not understand, well, why did they say this? And how did they mean this? And will this show up at work? Or does this only show up at home? And is this a person, right? So here's what I want to say right off the bat before we dive in. When you're working from a position of strength, that means you're already an asset. The job's the target, but the target is looking for assets. So today, what I hope once we talk a little bit about the strengths, what you'll see is when you show up, you're not supposed to be the most nervous person in the room in an interview because you're a CEO of you talking to the CEO of the company. So you talk like the way CEOs would talk to each other. You know how we talk? Metrics. Because what I want to be able to do is see if I have a metrics that I can go by, right? Then I can now project what we're going to do. And as an executive, I'm always concerned with where are we trying to go and how we're going to get there and what does the data say? So when you have your Clifton strengths, and we're going to take a look at this, this is the data that says this is not my opinion that I'm an achiever or I'm a restorative or I'm a woo. This is 50 years of behavioral science saying that what you lean into the most are these top 5, right? So let's explore this world that Dr. Clifton said and got into, and then we'll be able to say more. So here are some questions. There's always questions. And this is what I hear a lot as a coach, as someone who's facilitating and someone who gives keynote speeches a lot. And they always are asking me, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, PJ. So let me open it up to you and ask you, when people say that, when you say that, what are you actually saying? I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Anyone? What does this statement mean? Yes, go here and then I'll go over here.
Sorry. Wait for the mic. Thank you. This is Mike Null. Okay, so when I see this, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. That means that you feel like you've got some more growth ahead of you in your career.
Yes, I love it. Love it. What else? When y'all say this, or as you see this, how do you interpret this? I think here, and then there.
To me, it seems like it's saying, I don't know what my core competencies are. We want to work within our competencies where we're strongest, because that's where we can feel the best about what we do and contribute the most to an organization, I think.
Yeah, love it. Keep your hands up so he'll know who to bring the mic to. It's over here and then over here.
Kind of building on what he just said is a misalignment. You know, you're a square peg and you only see round holes, and you want something that feels like it fits better than anything you had before.
Yeah, love it. One more over here, and then well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more one of the decisions I've made has been led by others. I don't have a target. I've just opportunities have come up and I've just followed them, and it's just kind of led me along the way, and it's not my path, it's their path.
Yeah, I love this. One more before we
go.
So similar to what Walt just said, to me, it means you can't make a decision and you need to make a decision on what you want to do. And then once you decide, act.
Wow, I love it. One more. We'll take one more right here. We're going to put Jeff to work this morning.
Overall, I would think that is a lack of confidence in yourself.
This person is telling us, thank you. I'm not settled on this. In fact, they might be sitting at work in their cubicle, but they're thinking about, man, if I'd have just continued playing the piano, I could be a piano concertist right now, right? When you start thinking about other things than what you're doing at that moment, we might have a misalignment of your strengths. When you're not using your strengths, guess what? They're still there. And guess what they do? They yearn. They talk to you. So if your strength is that you love to command and you're not in a position where you command anything and you don't do anything at all, you're just kind of one of the guys on the assembly line who puts the doorknob on the Chevy, doorknob on the Chevy, doorknob on the Chevy, you see? But you're somebody who's creative, who needs that to go somewhere. Your strengths will not let you be happy on the assembly line, even though it may pay well, right? Because your brain's going, can't we do more though? And if you have that unrest, that's actually a good thing because that's going to tell us a few things. I want you to take a look at this. Do you know that it's 2 out of every 10 working Americans, right, that are working in a job that's congruent to their strengths? 2 out of 10. And it's what Walt said. You went to school with some people in college, you liked what they did, they all wanted to be architects, so you decided, hey, I think I'll be an architect. The reason why people pick some of the jobs that they land in is not necessarily because they're talented or they have a strength in it. It's that, well, my dad was a lawyer, so I guess I got to be a lawyer. Well, mom was a great practitioner, I guess I need to be. Whatever you're around a lot, you might start telling yourself, well, since that would seem like that'd be an easy pickup, why don't I start doing that? But then when you get in there, we'll find out really quickly how you would do it, and then what would give you energy and what wouldn't give you energy while trying to do it. Okay? So I love this. Let's keep going. So I have to break up on a couple of things here, a couple of myths. The first one is this, and that is you have to be well-rounded at everything. Hogwash. Bill Gates is not great at everything. Aretha Franklin was not great at everything. Michael Jordan tried to play a little baseball, but he was not nearly as good at baseball as he was at basketball. Two different type of sports, one's fast twitch, one's slow twitch. Am I saying you couldn't? No, but what we see is the idea that you could be well-rounded at everything. If everybody's well-rounded at everything, then nobody's great at anything. But see, the greatness is in you. The difference is some of us know what those strengths are, so we polish them. By the way, that's the cheat code. If you have strengths, you polish them. Because of this reason right here. After myth number one, if you buy myth number one, then myth number two comes out. You know what you should do then? Focus on your weaknesses. If your weaknesses are keeping you from getting a job, we want to look at them. We want to manage them if we can. But you know where the biggest area of growth comes from? People who understand that there's not a ceiling on your greatness. In fact, whatever makes you feel great, you get an energy from it, and you want to continue to do that thing that makes you feel great. And next thing you know, it's like Jordan said, you know how many shots I've missed? But then look at how many rings I've gotten. For Jordan, when he was on that basketball court, when he was told he couldn't play, he didn't make the basketball team in high school, he said, y'all don't know yet. Y'all don't know my passion. You don't know why I want to do this, right? So with that passion, going to that direction, look at the greatness. I'll give you another one. Jimi Hendrix, you've heard of him. You've asked any guitar player, and you talk about the top three, his name will come up with Stevie Ray Vaughan and a few others, right? Jimi Hendrix was reported that he would take the guitar and put it in the same bed that he slept in, because if a riff hit him in the middle of the night while he was dreaming, he was going to pick the guitar up and play. He also would put the sling on it so that if he had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and if a thought came up while he was using the bathroom, he would play. So Jimmy's playing. He's already great something. He already has a sense about something. And all he does is he polishes, and he polishes. I'll tell you this. I would rather polish something that I'm already pretty good at than work on something that maybe is at a 2 that I absolutely hate. Because you'll never get me to love spreadsheets as much as I love doing this right here. The fact that I can sit here and look in your eyes and look in your faces and see if you're with me or if you're not, if you're paying attention, if you're there, if you're hanging on every word, I'm more excited by that. And in fact, put 5,000 people in this room wouldn't bother me one bit. But if you tell me, go sit in a room with Excel spreadsheets and work on formulas and do all this math stuff, that doesn't excite me. But see, somebody in here loves doing that. And you know what? I want him doing that, and you want me doing this. That way we're on the right seat on the bus. Jim Collins, from good to great, that's what he's talking about. It's not, he said putting people on the right seat on the bus is what you want, not just people coming in the door that sit in the bus. If they're not working in that position that they feel most drawn to, then we know it can happen. Now, I get pushback every now and then. People go, well, I don't like that, PJ. I want to believe that I can be anything I want to be. Okay, but will you be great at it at the level that Wayne Gretzky was, Eleanor Roosevelt was, the way Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron? Can you do it? Yes. But we're talking about greatness. And what's even better, Dr. Clifton here said, I think I've understood what greatness is, because he took a poll, the Gallup group he bought, because he needed a poll machine to get data so that he, as a scientist, could figure out what is it that makes people great. And here's where we're going. So Dr. Clifton, what is he known as? The father of strengths-based psychology. Someone who was also at that time coming out of psychology was Martin Seligman. You may have heard of him. He wrote a lot of great books. Martin Seligman and Dr. Clifton said, I don't like psychology the way it is right now, because you know what psychology was like? It was about, here's what's wrong with you. Here are the itises, here are the osises. Let's talk about why you have these weird dreams and these Freudian dreams about why you want to sleep with a dog. What does that have to do? Oh, but we can put that together. We can make that make sense. No, 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 no. Martin Seligman, Don Clifton said, why don't we start talking about what's right with people? Why don't we start with that premise first? Because then what we'll do is we'll be tempted to fixate on what they do well rather than, no, you can't go further because you can't do this. One question kicks off this Clifton Strengths deal. He wondered what made people successful. And then he spent 50 years systematically studying. What he did is he asked open-ended questions to the top 1%. Didn't matter what vertical they were in. It was the top 1%. And he thought he'd get something really, really scientific. But you know what that top 1% said to him? They said, you know what, Don? If it ain't fun, we don't do it. Okay, break that down. What do you mean? It means, because I know that I'm great at project management, I hire people to do my accounting. I don't try to be great at my accounting, project management, this. I hire people who that's their joy, and I stay making sure I do the things that give me joy. Because once again, they told Don, I don't think there's a cap on how great I can be, so why not explore that? And Don was like, oh man, how do I put that in the book? That won't go very far, Jeff. That's just like you could write that in one paragraph. But he said, there must be something to this. What is this strength thing? So here's two major discoveries. There were several throughout this, but here are two that you might find interesting. First, let's talk about people, the individual. Successful people not only understand their talents and strengths, but guess what? They build their lives around it. They don't just take the assessment and go, great, now I'm an achiever with this and this and this. No, they said, well, if that's the case, and if that's what I'm more likely to lean into, and that's what gives me energy rather than drains it, why am I not spending the lion's share of my time doing that? So people build their lives around the school they went to, that's fine. The church they go to, that's fine too. Their children maybe, where they live. But the top 1% says, no, we build our lives around the things we know we do best. Because you know what the return is? I get greater and I get better every day. Because no one knows all of it. So you have to have the courage to chase all of it. Some people get to a level, a plateau. Some of us in here, you've gotten great. You've been doing project management for 10 years, and you're probably at the space where you're like, I've seen everything. Don't say that on an interview, because they'll look at you and go, wow, not this one. Let's put this in a different pile. Because anyone who knows anything, if you're smart enough, you recognize there's even more questions you could ask about the things you're asking questions about, which means that there's more opportunity for growth. So why not do that about something that absolutely energizes you? All right, so for some of you, it will be spreadsheets. For some of you, it will be speaking. For some of you, it's complex problem solving. You just love it. Doesn't matter how complex it is, right? Some of you love leading people. That when you stand in front of people, you get them. You have this intuitiveness. We might use a fancier word, perspicacity. They don't have to tell me. I can just see it on their face exactly why they like to do this or why they don't. Some of us are good at that. We want them to be managers and project managers because they know how to put the right people on the right seat on the bus. That's a strength that somebody polished, and now when you see it, it looks like they can do it in their sleep, and they can. Why? Because they've been polishing, right? Now, companies, let's go to the corporations. If they're smart and they know this, what they'll know is that we don't just accommodate that people are different. Instead, how can we capitalize? You see, because not everybody's a right hand. Sometimes some people are left hands. Sometimes people are left elbows. Sometimes they're right elbows, but all together that makes a body that has movements, joints that can then do things. So do I know who's the elbow and which elbow? Do I know who's a hand? Do I know who's a thumb? I need to know that, because if I make the thumb do something that's out of character for it, here's somebody who will learn to do it, but will also suffer from imposter syndrome. You know why? They're going, man, if this person finds out, I really don't know what I'm doing. I won't get that promotion. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to live in a space where I'm uncomfortable because I'm afraid people are going to find out that actually Walt's great at it. but y'all like me because I've been here longer. So you're giving me the role, even though Walt would kill at it. And now I know that Walt could kill at it, so now I'm afraid. And that's going to affect how I work at work. And I'm hoping that nobody notices Walt's actually the guy that should be doing this. But see, I don't want to lose the check. And plus, I've been here longer, so I want to stay where I'm at. So hopefully that person realizes, okay, there's something I can do here. I need to polish how I would do it. And that's why I love the Clifton Strength. So 34 talent themes are what have been identified. You see them here. Achiever makes sense. At the very end is woo. Woo stands for win others over. At the top of that last column, you see that's not realtor, that's relator. Someone said, hey, how did realtor get in there? Is that really a strength? Really? I could be. Thank you, my dyslexic friend. We love you too. We love you. We love you. Thank you for showing us. That's right. So I point that out. So just so you all know, that's not realtor. There's actually a strength called relator, right? And we could talk about that. But see, notice here, empathy. Really? That's a strength? See, we get achiever, activator, analytical, arranger, all the ers. We get those. But notice in here, belief is a strength. Belief, right? Deliberative, we get. Individualization is a long word to just say you appreciate individuals. In fact, out of all the strengths, this one, individualization, is the least likely to be racist. Because individualization people aren't challenged by the fact that individuals are different. In fact, they love it. That's why they had to create individualization. Right? So I love that Clifton looked at some of these and he could have just used just one word, but he broke it down granularly. Those of you who have taken your assessment, we're going to have some fun here because we're going to talk about some of your strengths and maybe some of the ones that you don't maybe understand as well, because there's 34 of them. How can you memorize all 34 and have them down? But hey, I had to, so we can talk about it. So I want to give you this idea of the hierarchy now of the talents. So here's some things to think about. Your talents that show up in the top 5 are like the bubbles that go to the top first, meaning you can see it. They're pretty intense. They go right to the top first. You notice how some bubbles kind of work their way to the top when you see something, right? Signature talents you see right away. They're the ones that you lean on the most out of the 34. All right? That next group, the supporting talents. So when people take the assessment a second or a third time, what you'll see is sometimes the supporting talents, a couple of them might move up, and maybe some of the signature talents might move down, which begs a wonderful question. Why does that happen? Two things, nature and nurture. The talents that stay in the top 5 that don't move ever, whenever you take the assessment, those are there by nature. The talents that shift out, and you go, how? I used to have empathy in here, but now I have relator. Those are there because of nurture. When you take this assessment before college, it looks one way. When you take this assessment after you have a mortgage and 3 kids, it looks another way. So if it's accurate, it shouldn't say the exact same thing every time you take it, because you're going to answer the questions based off of how safe you feel where you are at the moment, what you learned. All right? So it should shift a little bit. 5 brand new ones, that shouldn't happen. I did meet a guy, however, one time where all 5 did change. I said, can you tell me something that was maybe a moment in your life? He goes, yeah, I was in an auto accident and was in a coma for a while. Bingo. Everyone else, your 2 or 3 of these will stay there forever because nature says that's what you are. And then some will shift because nurture says, no, this is who you need to become right now to be safe, right? So I hope that helps. Now, we had to come up with something for this next group. Tell me how brilliant you think this is. Huh? Yeah. Middling. We're going to throw that on you. These are the middling talents. This is where someone takes this assessment and they go, I could swear, I know I have empathy. I work for a church and I have to sit down and listen to people and talk about Jesus. I know. And all I say to them is, but do you lead with empathy? People that have empathy in their top 5, you can see it. Some of these talents are very intense, meaning that you could just see it, just listen to them. Like positivity, you can see positivity, people, because they're the ones like, oh, hey, it's glad to see you. How was your weekend? Oh, I know it rained, but you know what? It's not raining right now. All right? And they're always up. So you can see positivity. You can always see achievers, too, because achievers are going, how long is this talk? I got stuff I got to go do. PJ, please shut up. I got to go. There's stuff I got to do. Come on, hurry. Can you get to the question and answer? Right? Because what are achievers about? Action. And if they don't achieve, that they feel bad about not being able to achieve. The achiever's biggest threat is time. Every achiever I coach, I have to calm them down. Because every day when an achiever wakes up and the gun goes bang, they start sprinting. They will put, right, some achievers in the room, right? Right? So achiever, you already know. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Now let's do it this way. Let me turn it one more notch. What if you're in an interview? If you're in an interview and you read that the interviewer is an achiever, you know, don't go in some long story about Grandma Edna's pudding or something like that. Because what does an achiever want? I want to get back to the task. So if you recognize that maybe your interviewer is an achiever, and you'll know, because achievers are tapping, they're doing something, you know, they got clocks going off, they got Post-it notes everywhere because it's reminding them, you have to be here at 10 o'clock. You have to do this at 4. Don't forget to pick this thing up before you go home, right? So in achievers, you could tell the achiever's office because it seems to be about time and reminders, right? And a positivity person, can you imagine if the interviewer is a positivity person in the office? Can you imagine what's in the office of a positivity person? Suns and big smiles. Hey, turn that frown upside down. Hey, we're going to win. No, it's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train. Come on, people, keep it positive. Let's go. You can tell the difference in someone who decorates their office even, and you might go, that might be a clue of what strength is here. So what if you could? What if you could read the interviewer? Would that be helpful? Well, we need to know our own strengths, and then when we see our strengths and we understand what are opposite strengths, then we can get an idea. Oh, I noticed he was very much about, as soon as he sat down, he pulled everything in close and was ready. That might be an achiever because he's setting up to try to make everything efficient, right? So there's some things. Now, this I think is really incredible about the Clifton strengths. It's this right here. The refusal to say weaknesses. He differentiated between that. He said, no, no, no. These talents at the 34, the ones that are at the bottom, lesser talents. That's different than going, yeah, here's where you suck. So spend all your time looking at your top 10, but here's where you suck. Because you know what happens? The way our brains are formed and the way we've grown up, a lot of times when people used to take this assessment, what they would look at is not the top 5. They'd look at the bottom 5. Why? Because the myth told them they need to be well-rounded and good at everything. So the first thing they wanted to do was look at what they weren't great at first, rather than looking at what's great. So people ask, well, why do you think that happened? One thought is your report card when you were a kid. Which grade got the most attention? The 4 A's and the 1 D? Which one got the most attention? The D. What did that teach your younger brain? Oh, focus on the problem. Ignore the 4 A's. As if that doesn't show you some strength, some ability, and an example or evidence of greatness. No, no, no. Then we go to the workforce. Now we have the evaluation day. Now they're a little slicker about it. They'll go, you know what? You are pretty good at being on time. You take good notes. That's awesome. But here are the 15 things we think you suck at here at the job, and here's the improvement plan we want to put you on. And if we don't think that's good enough, then here's how we let you get out of here in 90 days if we don't think you can meet our improvement plan. So what do? We focus once again on what's wrong rather than, but what have you been getting right? All right? Very interesting. So uniqueness. This has also some sort of sense of significance here. So here's how it works. For you to meet somebody with the same top 5 in the exact same order as your top 5, you would need to meet 33.4 million people. Now keep in mind, if one's a male and one's a female, those are 2 different brains, so you still would be different. Keep in mind, if you grew up in Russia and the other person grew up in Texas, there'll be a cultural shift that'll also be there. Even though they might have the same 5, it still won't look exactly the same. See that uniqueness? Now, to have the same top 10, 447 trillion. There's only 8 billion people on the face of the earth. You see the uniqueness? It's not about you trying to copy Mike. Remember those commercials, be like Mike Jordan? No, don't be like Michael. Be you. But who are you? How do you define yourself? How are you an asset and what's your greatness? Because the assessment never says, yeah, she just doesn't have any talents. Sorry. No. Everyone that takes that assessment, results come back. Everyone. So we were doing this for this school. It was in a low income area. And we did something called the Strengths Quest, which gives your top 3, not your 5, because you're not fully formed yet. So it was your top 3. There was one student that wouldn't hit the start button on the assessment. So he said, PJ, you want to go talk to him? I said, sure. I said, what's up, buddy? What's going on? What's happening? How can I support you right now? And he looked at me and he said, if I hit that button, what happens if I don't get any talents back? Teacher came over, she gave me, okay, he's comes from a neighborhood where the parents never encouraged him, never. Let's hit the button and see anyway. What do you think? I mean, if I have to, no, let's hit the button anyway. Click. First question. He starts answering. So he's doing that. I step away. We're talking to the other kids. And then as soon as he hit the last button and it came back, it gave him his 3 strengths. And he went, I have strengths. I have strengths. Yoo-hoo, I got strengths. And the rest of the kids are like, what's wrong with him? We all have strengths. Didn't you just say in the early part of your presentation? It's something different. It's something different. That kid, when he saw those 3 strengths, he wanted to know everything about those 3 strengths. He wanted to stay after school. He wanted to learn it because he says, I didn't think I could ever be anything. He just learned what the strengths were. He hasn't learned how to apply them yet. But he was just excited to see that he has strengths. Here's what I'll say to some of you. If you've been looking for a job and it's been 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 21, you're going to think like that kid. Maybe the reason why I'm not getting hired is because I don't have any visible strengths. Maybe they don't see me. Amazing. So we need this. Now, for someone to have the same 34 in the exact same order, we don't have a word for it, but we can tell you the math is 295 followed by 36 zeros and a whole bunch of commas. That's how unique you are. So now I'm the CEO. You're coming to get a job with me. Don't talk to me like you're scared, you're worried. Talk to me like you're the CEO of you. Because, see, it's your job to polish those strengths. It's your job to articulate those strengths. It's your job to ask questions. So, John, you've been here for a while. Tell me what the most successful candidate that would look like that you're trying to put in that chair over there. See what I'm doing? I'm not being scared. I'm stepping up to the challenge. Why? Because I got strengths. Why? I've been polishing them. So I'm not going to go on a job interview nervous and scared because I know that there's people out there that are also just as talented, maybe more. And you know what? Sometimes they get the job, but sometimes I get the job. It's still fair. So to help yourself, what's the most compelling story that you can say? And that is to say, these are my strengths. You know what energizes me? The fact that because I'm a strategic, I love creating alternate plans and pathways to get somewhere. Don't say, yeah, well, I'm a critical thinker. I'm a people person too. I'm funny. You need to hire me. I'm sure I'm better and funnier than all the other people you've had here today. What do they hear? Oh, we're projecting. So that means you're insecure because insecure people project.
PJ,
Yes.
there's a question online. How often should you take the test?
I don't think you need to take it a whole bunch of times. I think you could take it maybe twice or so. I would say this. The first time you take the assessment, and that's a great question, by the way. Thank you, online. The first time you take the assessment, you don't know any of the words and what they mean. So it's actually pretty accurate. But see, the second, third, fourth, fifth time, you already know what the questions are going to be at some point, or you know what they're, or you know the definitions of the strengths, and you go, well, this time, let's see if I can get achiever, because I didn't get that last time. Here, let me go online real quick. Okay, this is what an achiever does. Cool, I'm gonna act just like that when I see the question pop up. So you start gaming it the more you take it. So I would say maybe once, maybe twice, like earlier in your career, then maybe a check later to see if some things in your life have changed, like a major move. Maybe there's a divorce. Maybe you end up getting a diagnosis that isn't that great on somebody in the family. When there's big major moves in your life, you will shift because your amygdala, your brain is trying to keep you safe. whatever that looks like. So 2, maybe 3 if you really, really, really want to do it. But that's what I would say. That's great. Thank you for that question, by the way. All right. All right. Now let's talk about talents versus strengths. So when I say the word talent, anybody, what do you hear or how do you interpret the word talent or talents? Say again. A pianist. Okay. You're talking about a specific skill?
I think of an ability that comes pretty easily to you.
Ooh, like that. Yep, we're on the path. Yes.
I would think of it as someone's expertise.
Okay. Someone's expertise. We're still on the path. That's right. Anyone else? When you hear the word talent, when someone says, I'm talented, or someone brags about their kid.
I was
Yes.
thinking more of experience.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
I think talent is more of an inborn, more of an innate, hardwired or hardwireable set of circuits that you can build and develop through life.
I love it. I love it. Let's take a look how we would clinically and psychologically and sociology, neuropathically. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's right. I was thinking of somebody who could say sing. We all have voices. We all can sing, but some people sound better than others.
Oh yeah.
So you can learn musicianship. You can learn to carry a tune, but still does not make you a sing. You know, there's going to be somebody who's going to have a big, solid voice, and I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I just think that may be the difference, because anyone can learn,
Yes.
but some people are going to sound better than the other. The person that sounds better is the one with the talent.
Yeah. I love it.
Is that right?
I agree. See, Pavarotti can sing. Me? No. I won't even start off this presentation trying to sing, because then everybody will know, why is the strengths guy doing something that's clearly not his strengths that they're talking to us? Right? So think about this. I want you to see how specific the description here that Clifton says as he defines it. He says it's, and you were right on top of this or here in the front, it's a natural, reoccurring, not you got lucky that one time and that one thing, pattern of thought, feeling, and behavior that can be productively applied. It's important to add productively applied, because some people say, but I'm good at being annoying. No, that's not productively being applied. So think about that. Thought, feeling, and behavior that's already naturally there, that's reoccurring. And I bet you it shows up more if you're doing something that it likes that particular time. And then if you're doing that, then you're making a great investment. Now, what about strength? If that's what a talent is, natural, recurring thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied, what's a strength then? Yes. Cardio for Jeff.
I believe that the strength is the ability to transfer your talent, to show off your talent.
Yeah. Anyone else? When someone says, that's a strength of mine, what are they telling you?
Raise your hand on this. This is
Yeah.
Don Champlin online.
Thank
To
you, Don.
me, it's what you view as truth in your life. And truth is a big driver to belief. And belief is the key that drives the passion.
Yeah, we're on the path. Y'all ready for this one? I want you to see something about this. And again, this is Dr. Clifton, 50 years now. Do you believe this? Consistent, near perfect performance in an activity you love doing, and I'll add, oftentimes without even thinking about it. There are some people you just go, man, I'm trying to figure out what this discount is on this groceries here. It's like 30% off, and it's 16. How do you know that? Then you get up there and you weigh it, 16. Oh, I just love math. I see numbers in my head. Oh, wow. Okay. I want to buy some lottery tickets. Can you tell me if that will, could you calculate the opportunity of how this might actually work or not work based off of what we know of the winners had in their winning tickets? But see this, it says consistent because it's naturally reoccurring. near perfect performance. Now, how do you know this? Think about a time when you were doing something and your hair slipped on the back of your neck or your arms while you were doing it. That's one. Two, it might have been someone saying, how did you do that? That was pretty quick. That was easy for you. This might be signs or clues that what you just did is pointing to a strength. I'm going to bet that everybody in here did something where you were like, man, I could do that all day. I'd have done that for free right here in the front. Yes.
I hope you wore your pedometer today, Jeff. Okay. Let me push back a tiny bit on that.
Yes, please.
Sometimes, frequently, I've seen in the professional world, we build strengths. We're good at doing something. Sometimes those are the things we really don't love doing. What's your take on that?
I love that. So here's the thing. You're bringing in the next word that's important. That is aptitude. I can do something because I have the aptitude for it. But if I don't love it, so I can do it just because I naturally, but I don't necessarily like what I'm doing. But aptitude wise, some of us in here, we can figure stuff out, but it doesn't mean we like to do it every day. So I do know that that does happen. That's a great question to ask, by the way. I work with attorneys a lot, and attorneys, sometimes that's what they would push back and say, yeah, but I do things that I don't really care about, and I can do them great. And it's like, yeah, but here's what we know the difference is. The person that loves to do it still will be 10 times ahead of you, even though you have an aptitude where it makes sense in your head for you to do it. See, because just having an aptitude doesn't sustain over a long period of time if it's not something you like doing. But see, people who love what they're doing, like Hendrix was not going to put that guitar down. I have two questions right here and here.
Here's something that I found in my seasoned life is that my talent for singing has pushed into a strength for collaboration and innovation.
I love it.
So in one of my past lives, my talent was rewriting popular songs to form a song, then that would frame a group or a program that we had just performed, or in my case, a yearbook, and rewriting songs to say what we have achieved for this brand or this time frame or this event, and then put that all together.
Yeah. See, I love that. What Jenny is saying there is that the strength sometimes can be so strong that it transfers in other ways, which is why we want to keep polishing it, because the strength doesn't mean command just doesn't mean you always just bring order to chaos. It also means you can spot it. It also means you've probably gotten into some very serious conversations because you could spot it. And then you might even taught other people how to spot it. And then you could say, well, wow. But see, when you really polish your strength and get it all the way down, it's by extension going to be like an octopus. It's going to touch other areas and other things that are somewhat similar. But what does a command person want to do? They want to take the chaos in the room and bring it to order. Command is the person in front of the orchestra doing this. Now, could they learn to play one of the instruments? Yeah. But for somebody with command, it ain't enough to get a command of the instrument. It is, I want everybody on the same foot. Everybody on the same. It's bigger, it's grander. And then sometimes the talents, they don't work separately, they work together. So imagine somebody has the strength of command and they have the strength of self-assurance. That's a person that doesn't think they lose. And then if it's about commanding something, they're going to command it because they can't lose. And so now the guy is doing this and you think, man, he's an instrument by himself. What he's doing up there with his, right? So it's very interesting. And I think there was a question right behind you, Jenny, was it? Yeah.
I was waiting for a chance to ask this, but this gentleman's question in the front row who's now gone. But he had an interesting question, the challenge question.
Yes.
There is a book I haven't read it yet, but the thesis is fascinating, and I would like to hear if you believe this or don't. There's a book called So Good They Can Ignore You by Cal Newport. It's published in 2012. The thesis is this: matching your job description to pre-existing passion does not matter. Passion comes after you put in the hard work to become excellent at something valuable, not before. In other words, what you do for a living is much less important than how you do it.
Love it.
So the passion is not something we seek out that's native, and it's something that builds because of a skill or talent that we have to do something.
Yes.
So I don't know if you think that's a good thesis, or you.
I do like that. I do like that, because one of the things that we understand about the strengths, especially any one of them that you polish and you polish and you polish, yeah, what we should see is that passion will get you started. Persistence will keep you in the game, but it's purpose that's going to make you get through the tough times, right? And so what happens is when somebody's working within a strength, yeah, the passion let them know, okay, this is a good indicator. Passion is the red light going off in the dashboard, letting you know that something needs to be addressed. But see, when I understand that this is actually my purpose, the fact that I love to get up and speak, then you'll feel it in passion. Passion is the proof positive that, oh, yeah, this person, I like, yeah. Yeah, it'll show up. So it should be one of the indicators. So how do I know that something is a weakness? Right? A weakness is sometimes a strength that's overused that actually stymies growth. That's a weakness. Right? Here and then here.
Can I go back to
Yes.
the passion? One of the things in raising children is we
Ooh.
try to expose them to a lot of different things
Mhm.
because they didn't know they could play basketball until they played basketball or something, and it comes out. And so that would reinforce, I didn't know that I could sing that well, or I didn't know I could play the piano, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
And so as we expose people to our passion, by the time we're the age that most of the people are in this room, we ought to know what those passions are.
Agreed.
They can change. You might still discover something. I don't have a passion for retirement.
Yeah, I get that. I don't have a passion for Brussels sprouts, but I get you. I make that connection.
I just want to build on what Jason said, that a lot of times passion comes after you're excellent at something. Like if you've ever tried surfing, your first day is terrible. It is one of the most miserable experiences, but when you get good at it, that's when you can fall in love with it. And a lot of things at work, like learning how to do spreadsheets, is terrible, but building something that nobody else can do and creating a nice model is something that you really get excited about, potentially.
Yeah, I love that. These are great thoughts. I love this. Anyone else had a thought on that? Yeah, let's go discover some more greatness then. Okay, yeah. Now I want to give you the equation. I want you to know that in 15 years of doing this, most of my clients being attorneys, I said, y'all like to argue and pull things apart. Take my equation and take it apart. Show me where the flaw is in this equation. So the equation goes like this: investment. If everybody has talent, and we do, and then you add skills, which you can attain, knowledge, which you can learn, and then use, which is practice and practice and practice over time, what you will get is a strength. I asked them, pull this apart. Just where's the argument here? I'm still waiting 15 years in for an attorney to take it apart and say, no, that doesn't work. Now, here's what's interesting. I've had people say, yeah, but I tried this and I don't, but do you have all the skills? Not that you saw and watched a YouTube video and they told you how to fix something and now you think you're skilled at it. You're not skilled at it unless you can do it every single time and do it with proficiency. That is skill. Not that you were able to do it once, right? Or knowledge. Do you know everything you need to know about mechanical engineering before you're going to sit back and tell me it didn't work? Because what did we learn earlier? There's always more to learn because there's more ways to interpret something, and then there's more people writing books about how they interpret the same thing. How do we know this? Go look at any of the libraries where you go into self-help. I can tell you what every one of those books say. Believe in yourself, be positive, and don't hang out with negative people. That's what most of them are saying, but they add a little something to it. But almost every one of those books is going to have those 3 pillars in it that's in a self-help book, right? Then we may have the business self-help section, right? That came out later. Now, here's what this doesn't say. You have to be black, you have to be white, you have to be male, you have to be female, you have to be a native speaker, have to be atheist, have to be Christian, have to be, it doesn't put a box or a limit on you. And I will challenge you today, don't you put a box on this. So this happened. I had a gentleman, he took the assessment, he goes, oh man, PJ, this is a problem. I said, why is this a problem? He said, because I got all the girly talents. The girly talents? What do you mean? Well, I got empathy, and I got harmony, and I got relator. Oh, hold that thought. I'm going to go talk to your team real quick, and I'll be right back. So I walked out, started to talk to the team. Man, John's a real jerk, isn't he? He doesn't know what he's doing. You're a behavioral scientist, and that's what you picked out of that? John's not. You know what John is? John is the guy that does every person. And when I tried to throw him under the bus, said, are you kidding me? That's not John at all. Yeah, I don't think you're very good at what you do, sir, because that's not him at all. And I was like, thank you. Then I went back into John's office. I said, you know those girly talents that you say you have? Do you know that you have the most respect for your team out there? Not one person threw you under the bus when I came in and threw a hypothetical at them. Not one person. In fact, they vehemently defended you. I would like to think that Jesus Christ had the same effect on people. It was called compassion. That would also show up as a blue talent, but I don't think that that means that Jesus was girly, because he was willing to meet people where they were at. He was willing, through ultimate perspicacity, to intuit what was going on with the people who were surrounding him. People had leprosy. People had demon possession. People who were blind. Jesus, 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 help me, Jesus. So I don't want to ever, I don't want to ever hear that those are girly questions again. And then there was a lady, same thing, was a lady, and her issue was different. She took the assessment and command showed up as number one, and she hated it. This is a VP of a very large company that you would have heard of, but the names will remain silent to protect the innocent. Right? She goes, I don't like this, PJ. It says I have command. So tell me about command. It means I'm bossy. I don't like that because I think I respect people better than that. So this assessment is wrong. It's trash. Have you considered maybe taking it again? Maybe when you answered, maybe you answered too many down the middle and maybe it might have thrown off the, yeah, I'll take it again. She took it a second time. Command was still number one. She took it a third time. Command was still number one. Then she started figuring out some of the questions. She took it a fourth time. Then it said self-assurance, number one. And she goes, dang it, now I sound cocky. Or you're putting a negative label to something that Don Clifton says is actually a strength or a superpower for you. The reason why you're VP and where you're at is because you have command. You take command of stuff. And that's what you need in a business environment. Yes, sir.
So, Miguel Castillo. So, I think what you just said makes me think of something about myself and really connects to a question that I had for you before.
Okay.
So, my top five, I work in finance and I love numbers.
Okay.
You know, so, when you're talking about spreadsheets, it's more than that. It's really utilizing all the information you get from spreadsheets really to then make, strategy and decisions. But my top five, besides, number one is learner and then analytical. But then I have harmony, individualization, and relator. The three things that you were talking about. And really the big thing, and I think it's one of my, I guess, again, not only a strength, but it's my, how I differentiate myself with people is that typically in finance, most people are, the typical stiff banker, could care less about anybody else and loves to say no. And I have really strong teams. Normally during this, period in transition, one of the things I worked with a coach, and one of the things that was evident is that I'm always working, you know, like Fortune 100 companies and with large groups reporting to me as well as large, you know, groups that I support. And that's part of what I enjoy, you know, the working with a group and kind of developing them and, you know, trying to make sure that they're, you know, in a good environment and all that. And so having said all that, you showed a slide before that talked about like only 2 people out of 10 in the US are working in like, you know, or I don't know what the wording was, but like in,
Jobs
you
that
know,
were congruent with their strengths.
yes, exactly. And so what this could suggest is that I should be doing something else, not what I do and what I've done over the last almost 30 years in my career, but I love it. It really, I don't know if it's, you know, again, to your question of what you explanation you gave of this person that people would defend this manager or whatever, you know, and that's how I apply it.
Yes.
But, you know, I was curious about, you know, one is my case, but the second one is how do you even get to know that 2 out of 10 people are only the ones that are doing really what they're supposed to be doing based on their strengths? Because when I took I did get the 34, there's no question that tells you, you know, and what are you doing? You know, kind of to say, oh, you know, you, Miguel, you're not, you know, you're not where you're, you know, where you should be working based on your strengths. So how did you get that number?
Let me help you on that. That's easy. I thought you were gonna ask something difficult. That's easy. It doesn't, Clifton Strengths doesn't say, if you have these 5 talents, you can only be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer. It doesn't say that. People, every time they sit down with me, the first thing they do is they go, okay, PJ, with these 5 strengths, and they want me to put them in a box. I don't put you in a box because Clifton doesn't put you in a box. What he just told you is that's how you would be an accountant. You're gonna be 2 parts thinking and you're 3 parts connecting. So it makes sense. You're working exactly the way you're wired. You're the person that stands out in the room because while most of the accountants are buttoned up, as you were saying, you have the extra gear of also connecting with people because you have harmony. You have individualization. Those are people skills. So you're a beautiful mix of thinking and processing power, but also you're not like aloof. You're someone who's warm and sunny, which is his competitive advantage over all the other accountants who are stuffy. Because if I come into the job, when I talk to them, they're not just hiring your strengths, they're also hiring the person. And the ways you describe who you are is what would make you compelling. And so, you know how many interviews they have where people come in, I'm good with numbers, I'm doing it. Well, check, of course, you're an accountant, you should be good with numbers. What I want to know is what's that extra gear that you have that would make you an asset to my team? And your asset is the fact that you not only have conversations up here in your head, because that's what thinkers do, you have conversations right here with your mouth, because that's what connectors do. Yeah, they poll. So Gallup Group is a poll group. So I'm sure they did a poll with a bunch of CEOs and people like this to ask them, and actually the employees of CEOs. So that's what it was. So the data, for the data folks, I see you. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. So the data is out there on the Gallup website. They show you every question, how they set things up. And actually the Gallup newsletter tells you, because Dr. Clifton's gone, but his son is a data scientist who grew up with a behavioral scientist dad. So he's got both. And so what does he do? He puts all the data out there. And then they always show you who's they're polling, what they're asking. They're always asking about the nature of corporations today. Why do people quit? Why do they stay? How do they get burnout? Stuff like that. So there's a ton of data. We could talk about it. I can give you some links. But no, that's an advantage that he should be saying on an interview. The fact that he's not just book smart, that he's people smart too. Yes, I love it. Question.
I have a suggestion for people like the previous commenter that may be looking for a somewhat different career field. It is called Ken Coleman. Go to Ken Coleman's website and take the career clarity assessment. He has one there. That's really good. I actually got one at an event that I attended last year. I got a code and got to take that assessment, and so it's pretty good. And one of those codes does come with his book called "Find the Work You're Wired to Do."
Yeah.
So that'd be something I would suggest to.
So here's what I'm gonna do
people in
with
that situation.
Here's what I would say to that. First of all, there's a ton of books. written by a bunch of people who are scientists who ask different questions about the same thing. Just like the other self-help books, guess what they're going to do? I can already tell you what that book says before I even read it. Here's the methodology of how I'm going to show you how you relate to the world. And here are the strengths. They're going to use the strengths. Here's the things. They're still talking about strengths and weaknesses. Dr. Clifton already talked about that. And he put it in a different frame. DISC says it this way. The D, the I, the S, the C. It is not a personality assessment. It is a assessment that tells you about behavior. You either dominate, you either inspire, you're either steady, or you're compliant. All that Marsden cared about was behavior. So he talked about it only from a behavior perspective. The 16 personalities is Myers-Briggs. That is a personality assessment. And it says that there's these combinations based off these 16 patterns. Dr. Clifton came in and said, that's all well and good, but you know what? Behavior changes over time. Also, personalities can change over time. So with Clifton Strengths, he said, I want to go granular. I want to talk about what's the innate strengths that show up and what would be the themes that would define it for me, so that not that I put people in a box, I tell them, if you want to be a lawyer, this is how you would be a lawyer. If you want to be a this is how you do that. So Clifton also has a book. It's called Now Go Discover Your Strengths. The disciples of Clifton have all written books. So they loved what Clifton said so much back in the early 90s that Tom Rath, Barry Conchie, and several other disciples of Marcus Buckingham have all talked about the topic, but even in different places like social, here, all because of his work. So what you'll see is when a scientist starts to write something, it's his great theory, but he's also building off of, well, Marsden, he's also building off of Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strengths. So the thing is, my fear is, if everybody goes out and starts taking all these assessments, you're going to be more confused than you were in the beginning, because everybody uses a different methodology and is asking from a different place in the questionnaire. So take a couple, but I know people that's, as soon as a new assessment comes out, that's the first thing they want to do. And when I talk to them, I go, so tell me, what do you know now about yourself after doing Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, DISC, Strengths, Trajo, da-da. Oh, and by the way, companies have their own proprietary one. So right now, you can be assessment out, and as what was it C.S. Lewis said? Now everything's a window, meaning you can just see through it, but nothing seems to be solid because you look through a window. So you can have the situation where you have so much data, and now you're more confused than when you first started. So I always tell people, just be careful. Take a couple, but don't go nuts. And they all have written a book somewhere.
You covered everything I was going to ask you about, except the MMPI. Another story. My second question has to do with something you just alluded to. You've said several times in the presentation that we're looking at 50 years worth of data. As a guy who's had to handle data in my career as well, we all know that, as you just said, people change, personalities change. And what I've taught my kids, they don't have a lot of dad codes, but one of them is facts change. What we think is correct today and true, we can overturn with more research, more evidence. Is it reliable to base conclusions on something that has 50 years of data put in it versus all the changes to the culture? You mentioned international culture, but within our culture, we have a lot of evolution and things change a lot in the last 20 years, 10 years, 5 years.
100%.
So how does Clifton compensate for that?
Because of this, I said he has disciples who picked up his writings and took it where they were taking it, where they're leading in companies. And so when you look at the Clifton Strengths, the first book was called Now Discover Your Strengths. But you got Strengths 2.0 now. You've got Clifton Strengths. Now they rebranded it again because they keep learning. His son is a data scientist. So he sees things that his dad didn't see, and he's adding that in as the chief officer of the Gallup Group. They're pollsters. They love taking polls. You'll see that all the data wasn't from the 80s. You'll see that this is up-to-date modern because they put all their findings, they tell you what the sample size is, and they don't just do it here, they do it culturally all over the world. So you've got Clifton Strengths data scientists who are now extrapolating all the data they can. Now, again, you could argue, but it's people answering questions, and people will answer based off their mood and that sort of thing. And then it comes down to what Pontius Pilate said to Jesus. What is truth? Can we know every ounce of truth? No, we can't. But does that keep us from getting up every day and going and applying what we do know? Doesn't. So I love the question because that's what I would ask too, because as a strategic, I want to make sure that everything I have will help me create productive paths going forward. Strategics are the kind of thinking talents that actually have the futuristic part to it. Because I want to know, where are you trying to go? But then I'm going to take where you're trying to go, which might be here, and you're here today, and I'm going to draw a path like this. That's a strategic. See, an analytical will go, just give me data, because the devil's in the details. That's about present and maybe some context, but strategics are futuristic. So I wanted to know. That's a fantastic question. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. Let's keep going because we are right up on it. We're having such a good time. See that? We're having such a good time. So real quickly, I wanted to show you this wheel. This is the Core Clarity wheel. Clifton Strengths also has theirs. Who are the Core Clarity people? They are Clifton Strengths enthusiasts that said, we want to tell our message because we see some things also in these strengths. And so they were the first ones, Core Clarity, to notice that those 34 talents fit in any one of these quadrants. And they noticed that some of the talents, as you see to the top left, are about connection, building relationship. That would be empathy and harmony and includer, right? Some of the talents are about mobilizing, getting people to do something. So your developers, your maximizers, your woos, right? Some of the talents are about execution. I don't need to talk to people. Just show me what you want me to do. Tell me what you want done and I'll get it done. Please leave me alone. And then some of the talents, strategic, right? Analytical, context, input, are about thinking. Now, if you look at the left side of this equation, what you see is it's about interaction. I'm either thinking to myself, right, which is internal, or I'm connecting, which is external. So the intellectual person is having the dialogue here while you're talking. And you can see it. Have you ever talked to someone who's really deep? You know what they're doing. You're talking, and it's like you can see the gears turning in their heads. Whereas somebody who's blue is going, really? Me too. Let me tell you about a time when I did the same. Right? They're verbal. These folks, internal. Now that right side, it's about motivation. I'm encouraging other people to do stuff, external, mobilize, or I'm encouraging myself to get up, get going. That would be the talent of focus, discipline, achiever, active, right? So they put them in these 4 quadrants and categories. And then that helps us understand. So if we're looking at it, there it is, 7, 6, 12, and 9. If you look at it from the Core Clarity perspective, the Gallup perspective has it more evenly spread out. But this is the 7 ways that humans connect. That's the 6 ways that they compel people or mobilize people. There's 12 ways of thinking. And then here, there's 9 ways in which someone compels themselves into action. Question. Can you be all 4 in the same hour?
Just do the job search. I'm all for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
some
do that? I
people-
mean, in the same hour, I can connect, mobilize, reflect, and energize.
Yeah.
And
So people that have talents in your top 5, if they're, so I've seen people where they have 1 in each quadrant plus that extra one, right? Because it's 5. So yeah, sometimes what I've coached 2 people that their top 5 talents were all green. This was the quietest coaching session I ever had. This was one where he asked me questions. I went, huh, what? Because his brain, with all that thinking power, computing power, was asking questions I wasn't even thinking to ask. Well, what do you think of, right? What do you make of, how do you see, he's showing you, I think. That's crazy because you know what his issue was going to be? If he gets hired into a company, people won't understand him because he's always in his head. But he's probably the smartest person in the room, which means he's an asset. But other people might go, he seems kind of to himself, kind of stuck up, right? So that's a way to understand that when you see how people's talents are, if you have a talent in each quadrant plus the next one somewhere, your biggest challenge is going to be, where do I fit in? I feel like I do a little bit of everything. I guess I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And so usually when I coach someone that has a talent in each one, I have to help them see how each quadrant is powerful for them, and then to be aware of when they're in that quadrant so that they can apply it appropriately. Right? But that's a great question. I've met some.
Pete,
Yes.
Pete, this is Don Champlin.
Yeah.
Can I summarize that for you a little bit? Because
Sure.
you described exactly what's going on with me. I am in 3 quadrants. And it all comes to the realization of my strength as in the other quadrants, I can tend to be prideful. I can tend to be other things out in that arena. But I had to come to a point in my for my strength is, which is belief, that if I get into my head too much, because I'm a reflector and a learner and I'm strategic, then my pride can set in. And when my pride set in, I'm not utilizing my strength of belief, because the book said it the best: when I am weak and acknowledge that weakness, then I have the source of strength, or the true truth that guides the belief in my life. And that enables me then to work in the 3rd quadrant of responsibility.
Yeah.
And now I can connect and be helpful and be the things that my belief system tells me that I need to be. And then I have to operate within the season that I'm in my life. And in the season in my life, I'm facing a really strong challenge right now. And that challenge is requires me to believe and realize that I'm weak. And that is when your liberation uh, formula that you have becomes truly liberating in your life.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you. So by the way, real quick, and I want to make sure I land the plane. I want to be good with your time, but I'm always happy when I see engagement. So I'll let you know that that's one of my weak spots, because I'm also a woo. So to that point, number one, Paul said, what? If I boast about anything, I boast about my weakness. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And Paul told the Corinthians, it's actually when I'm my weakest that God is the strongest. So when we get arrogant, that means we're putting ourselves before God. Instead of God saying, no, this is how I built you. Now go do the stuff I built you to go do. Real quick, God doesn't build junk. Everything God built, he had a purpose for, which means you. And because your strengths are unique, there's a purpose for you. There's something that you will be able to do because God gave you the strength. The moment we don't put God in that space, a lot of times what we do as believers, this is, okay, when I think I got it handled and when things are going great, I'm good. And then I only want to come to him when there's a problem. And then say, why didn't that work? And he's like, I've been here the whole time, even when you were winning, but you didn't give me the credit, right? So what keeps you from being arrogant? Even some wonderful strengths? Remember who gave you the strengths in the first place, right? And then actually that's your confidence on the interview process. You should be extremely confident because number one, you're going to pray up to God first. If you're supposed to get the job, you're going to get the job. If God doesn't want you to have the job, you're not getting it, no matter how well you went on the, right? So number one is God's in control first. Number two, if God's an omnipotent, all-powerful being and he doesn't build junk, then what he's saying is can you articulate what it is you bring to the table? Because I built you with capabilities that right now might just be talents, but if you polish them, they will become strengths. Real quick. So what we would say to people, you can't not be you. You should be you. You have strengths, but you have to understand when your strengths are being overserved. So that's where we have the dimmer switch theory. At the moment, you're a positivity person, but at the moment they're serious. They don't need you to come in there and try to make everybody feel happy and be a cheerleader. That's not the right moment for that. All right? That will actually alienate you from people if you don't understand. So sometimes you need to dim that down because it doesn't fit the situation. We read 3 things in context: books, people, and situations. So if your strengths are out of the situation, it won't be a strength to you compared to everybody else, because they're like, why is this person trying to be openly cheerful when we're actually trying to solve a complex problem right now? We don't want to hear that. They'll assume that the cheerful person isn't taking it serious enough, and actually that strength will work against you. So know when to turn it down. But here's the other thing. If you're feeling weak and like you don't have no power and you can also pull that dimmer switch up. It goes the other way too, right? And you need to know, after you've done this for a while, what you'll learn is you'll learn when master
Did anyone else lose the sound?
Yeah, they must have muted.
Yes.
What is the DJ doing? The speakers are not loud enough back there, so the speakers are too loud up here. I'm bringing in song from disc 1, slide the fader over. I need to bring in part of disc 2, slide the fader over. Your whole life, you're the DJ. You have to know what to turn up and what to turn down so that you can be in congruency with what's happening in front of you. And specifically when it comes to an interview, please remember this. You're the CEO of you. Talking to me, the CEO of my business. I should know my business inside and out if I want to sell it to you as a good place to work. But you should be able to articulate what it is that you bring to the table so that I see you as an asset and not as a liability. So how do you do that? You polish, and you polish because there is no cap on your greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my time.
PJ. PJ, thank you very, very much. If you want a copy of as long as I have your email address, you will get a copy of the presentation with all the details and welcome. Will you accept people if they reach out to you on LinkedIn? So that's another thing you can also do too. Hi. All right, coming up next week, Rusty Wright will be with us to talk about ChatGPT for job search. Rusty was probably one of the first people who really started talking about this, how to use it. So he will be our speaker next Friday morning. Let's see here. I'll skip those two, skip those. The Career USA YouTube channel. This presentation will be up there later this afternoon. You'll be able to go back and watch it or tell friends about it. I will put a link in the email that goes out this afternoon, so you'll be able to get to the link right away. If you click on the North Dallas group, you can then scroll down, or any of them, scroll down and see any of the categories. I put all the videos into 7 different categories, and you can pick the one you want to go and watch at your convenience. Next Tuesday, Terry Sullivan will be with us for LinkedIn Tuesday to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. Terry does not allow this to be recorded, so if you want to watch Terry, you will need to watch it live at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. Next Wednesday, the practice interview team will be meeting online only. So anybody around the United States can watch online only on the 4th Wednesday of the month. And next Friday, as I mentioned, Rusty Wright will be here to talk about ChatGPT. Coming up the first week in June, we'll do open forum. And then on the Friday the 13th coming up, Dee Robinson will be with us to talk about how to find and negotiate your next great job. And if you've not heard Dee, she does a really good presentation. Today for lunch, we're going to go to Jason's Deli, so come join us. We'll be there in hopefully about 15 minutes. Northeast corner of Parker and Preston. Come just leave me some chocolate ice cream, but y'all can have everything else. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. Rusty, thank you very much for your help, and we'll see everybody next week. Have a safe Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks. Same to you. Save your chat.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you for a great session. Amazing. Thank you.